It is Multifamily Monday, and I'm Brandon Dukeman here with Will Harvey, and we are the Wealth Junkies. Thanks for joining us today. We've got another exciting multifamily expert in store for you today. This guy's a pretty awesome character, and we're excited to get him on the show here. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Will to introduce our guest for the day.
Thank you, Brandon, so much. So today on the show, we have someone very near and dear to my heart. He's integral. When I started on the apartment journey a few years ago, it was I heard his show on Michael Blanc. I think he came on Michael Blanc's show, and then I started listening to him, and this guy is just real, and I love it. So today we have Corey Peterson. He's the Big Kahuna. That's what his brand is. He's bought a bunch of apartments, 1,800 units to be exact, somewhere around that number.
Just a few.
Yeah, exactly. Just a few. He's wrote some really cool books. I've read them. I'm speaking from experience. They're really, really great books. He's spoken at Harvard and NASDAQ. And this is truly a rags to riches story. So we're really excited to hear his story today. Corey, thanks so much for coming on the show. Can you just give the listeners a little bit more about your background and how you got to where you are?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Listen, I am the Cinderella story. Except glass flippers don't really fit on my shoe.
Yeah, you don't really look like a Cinderella.
Seeing you with some glass slippers would be great.
But truly, man, it really is rags to riches. I started from nothing. I barely made it out of high school, and about the only thing that I was ever good at was copying. And my teachers kind of frowned upon it.
Sometimes.
Imagine that,
That's how you get through school, though.
I wouldn't say I cheated, but I copied homework.
That's how I passed my college econ class.
Yeah, because I wasn't really interested in school. I hated that crap. And but I actually found that in my adult life, it's actually one of the greatest skills that I have is that I've always put myself in a room and say, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I better not be the smartest guy in the room because that would be kind of scary. But more importantly is that I've always learned to find great people that give me good advice on how they did it. And so, but yeah, I mean, that's really, I started my journey as, I started as a used car salesman. So when you don't get a degree and obviously I didn't make it to college. Okay. So maybe some people can relate to this. Maybe they can't. For all the college kids out there, great job. For everybody else, listen up.
Great job as well.
What if you went to college but dropped out twice? Does that count?
Yeah. You're right in the mix, bro. Or or the people that go to college, you realize what the hell did I just waste all this money for?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like how many people do that? Everybody.
That was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you come out of this thing saying, for me, I didn't go there. So if you don't have a degree, your options are even smaller. You got to manage some crap or sell some crap.
Yeah.
Or you want to work at a factory. And I wasn't working at a factory. Or you got to learn to trade, right? I mean, there's 4 options.
Yeah, exactly.
So I chose option 1, which is go sell some crap. And so I sold used cars because they'll hire anybody at the car dealership.
They need those cars off the lot.
You were hired right on the spot.
Damn right. 20-year-old kid. Yeah,
great.
You want a job? No problem. You're working for free.
Right.
You got to make a commission.
Straight commish.
And by the way, you need to be here every day and even Saturdays and maybe sometimes part-time Sundays, right? And so I was a car lot lizard, man.
That's wild.
Hustling cars.
You did well at it though, right? You did pretty good.
I mean, I was an average cat, dude. I was never that perfect or that smart or that great with conversation, but I just grinded it like everybody else. I grinded it. And, but I learned some really cool things there. I learned how to talk to people. I learned how to not to be afraid to talk to people. And I learned that profit is never a dirty word. Said never, nobody in the car business, right?
Right.
They're always trying to make money off of you. When you touch the dealership, somebody's getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
And so no, I know, how do we get in real estate? All right, I'm getting there, I promise. I'm telling you
please.
I'm telling my long version because
I want to hear it.
Because I understand your audience, and this is where I think a lot of people are going to get into, is when they get tired of the daily grind of the bull crap that we do for a job.
Right.
I mean,
9 to 5. Yep. driving in and just hating
I
life.
mean, forget 9 to 5. Sometimes it's like 9 to freaking 9
Yeah.
to 10.
Yep. Or
all
9 p.m.
all
to
the
7
time.
a.m.
Right. Yeah,
You know?
ran it with the night shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like that was kind of selling used cars to tell my girlfriend, now my wife of 17 years, I've been happily married for a long time.
Awesome.
But one day she's like, I can't marry a car seller. So a car guy. She's like, I like you, but I can't marry a car guy.
That is so
And
funny.
so that's when I had my first like, oh crap, I got to change careers.
I need a real job.
And so I got one. I became a restaurant manager.
Oh, wow.
And it was
Okay.
worse.
Yeah.
I
was gonna
thought
say,
I worked
it doesn't sound like a
business.
super. Yeah, exactly. Right.
But I had guaranteed pay, and
Okay.
that seemed to make that made the wife happy. Security,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And but security wasn't doing it for me, because I started to I looked at my boss, and that guy hated himself. He hated life because my girlfriend had to come visit. I'd give her free food. She'd come to my restaurant, so I'd give her free food so we could see how our days were going, because we were like ships passing the night, because I was always working.
Right.
That's crazy.
So, and then something magical happened, right? So here's the turn. My mom was married to this man, and I call him, his name's Bruce. Okay. I actually call him Bruce Wayne. Okay. He's not Batman.
Yeah.
But the guy was loaded. And my mom was real pretty. So I'm just saying, maybe there's a trade-off. I'm not judging, right? My mom had a little hustle, okay?
She knew what she was doing.
Bruce Wayne. So he had Bruce Wayne money.
He had Bruce Wayne money, bro.
Okay.
And so my mom comes visit me with Bruce Wayne. And me and my girlfriend are in the car. Now my wife's 17 years. We're in the car. And she turns around. She goes, honey, would you and Shelly like to go to Hawaii? Well, of course, our first, are you paying for it?
Yeah, exactly.
And the answer was yes. Yeah, we're paying. I'm like, well, then hell yeah.
Right.
And so, but what she didn't tell me is that Bruce had a house right on the beach.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, so, and he had it was in Kauai. So Kauai is it's called the Garden Island. It's the most beautiful island in Hawaii, if you ask me. And so this house is right on the beach, and like we experienced it for the first time, and dude, it was magical. And I'm telling you, me and Shelly woke up early one morning, the first morning that we were there, and the sun's not even up. We walk on the beach. We're walking, it's on a cove, so we walk the whole cove. And when we get to the other point of the cove, then the sun starts to come up. And dude, the spray from the waves and the sun hitting the lights of the water. I mean, it was like a light show paradise. And Shelly and I stood hand in hand, transfixed, for like 15 or 20 minutes. We watched this go down. And I'm telling you, it was like the scales of off my eyes and of life and being just not winning, not feeling like you were winning or going anywhere. I was like reborn. I'm telling you, it was out of body. I was reborn, dude. Because I wanted to be somebody. And at this, all the way up to, I'm 23 or 24 now, and I'm just not feeling like I've done anything.
Yeah, you've been selling cars and working at a restaurant.
And I'm going nowhere.
Right.
And I remember looking over at Bruce's house, and I was like, what does this guy do?
Right.
Because, dude, he had nice cars. He had fine art. I mean, and dude, his phone was not ringing. He had no cares in the world.
Wow.
I'm telling
you
right
now.
So
nobody was bugging him or yeah.
Bruce had the two things I think anybody listening to this wants: time and money. Time and money.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is it.
And dude, and he was living it, man. I'm telling you, there was no doubt in my mind that Bruce had both. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And so I finally get enough courage. I'm like, I got to ask him what he does. And so I go up and I ask him. And he says that he is in real estate and he owns apartments.
Wow.
Now, I wish the story
Did your eyes just light up at that point?
Yeah. Did you ask him a million questions?
No. Because I wish the story got better. I asked one stupid question. I go, so you're a realtor?
That's what everybody asks.
That really
That's
pissed him off.
Yeah.
He goes, no, they work for me. And
that's funny.
and Bruce was kind of a grumpy old man. Okay.
So he wasn't real.
No, he wasn't
nice
trying to
guy.
be cool and trying to help, right?
Wow.
So, but listen, I forgive him because when I left the island, all I could think of was Bruce was the big kahuna. Like he gave me the perfect vision of what time and money should look and feel like.
Right.
6 months later, I read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Right. This is in 2004. Okay. And once I read that book, I was like, oh my God, that's Bruce. Bruce is a real estate investor. He owns a cash flowing apartments.
He's the rich dad.
And that book, by the way, anybody listening out there, that book is just life-changing. There's so many, probably half of our real estate guests that we interview, when we ask them what their favorite book is, it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So it's such a great book. Anybody that hasn't read it.
Yeah. And so, I once I read that book, I bought every book I could. I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. I want to be like Bruce. And so I went and consumed all the books as book read. And then in 2005, I was like, I'm going to start I'm going to go do it. I'm going to take action. I'm ready to start my own company. And I started it with the end in mind, and I named it Kahuna Investments. Because I wanted to be the big kahuna, just like Bruce.
That's smart, because every day you're kind of reminded of why you're doing it. And
I had no idea that it would be as sticky as it is now, right? People like, I'm known as the big kahuna, right?
Yeah, that name definitely stuck.
And my whole lifestyle that I do, and I go to Hawaii a lot, and I embody what my vision is. I live it every day of time freedom and living a life by choice and your whole design.
Sunsets and palm trees, right? That's your thing.
Sunsets and palm trees, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Corey, were you still working at the restaurant when you were teaching yourself all this and reading the books? Yeah. Yep.
Actually, okay. I made a small change. I was actually selling groceries to the restaurants. I smartened up a little bit.
Okay.
Right. So then I had a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So I'm reading. So then, but once I started my journey, once I started my company, I was ready. I took a home equity line of credit out of my house, and I went and this is going to date me. I opened up a phone book. Right.
What is that?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
and I go to the yellow pages.
Oh man, you're speaking a foreign language right now.
I mean, there wasn't Google.
No, I just lost everybody on the audience right there. They're laughing at me now, so you can laugh with me. Okay. But American, so I was going to call banks. I was going to call the REO departments, but I was afraid of banks because they were too big. So I called credit unions. So I looked up credit unions.
So what are you looking for? You're looking for flip opportunities, single family?
REO departments.
Yeah, but I mean, your end game is to buy houses and flip them, right?
Oh yeah. I was just going to buy and flip. Yeah. So I was like, that's what I read in every book is like buy and flip. So I want to point this out immediately real quick is that here, Robert Kiyosaki in his Rich Dad Poor Dad book never talked about flipping homes.
Right. It's all cash flow.
And by the way, that's being a trader, right? Like, but if you do it long enough, you'll feel like a trader.
Well, you explain. When you say
that.
Trader, you mean TRADER, like you're trading. Yep.
But if you do it long enough, you'll feel like a trader.
That's right.
TRAITOR, right?
That's right.
Because it was all about cash flow. And yet a lot of us have got into like, let's just fix and flip properties. Well, that's one-time profits and it's not even tax. There's no tax benefits to it.
It's like that quick dopamine hit, but there's no long-term success in it.
And I see it a lot right now, even with wholesalers, right? So, but my short story is, man, I did a couple of those deals, fix and flips. I called the credit unions. I got this girl named Holly Lane. She was awesome. And she sold me a couple deals in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I'm like, man, I'm making some money. I did so good on the first one. I made 20 grand. I'm like, I'm quitting my job.
Okay.
Right. So I'm like, hell yeah, I got rid of the man. I'm doing good. So I bought,
what was it like quitting your job? Just give us that real quick.
Oh, dude, cool? It was awesome.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I was like, I'm in control of this ship now, man.
Yeah.
But I had a fairly good work ethic, and I've always had a strong work ethic, right? I've never been afraid of working, so I just work for myself. But I'm getting ready to hit some choppy waters because I flipped 3 more properties, and I'm like, man, I got some money. I'm like, now I'm going to start playing the cash flow game. So I'm like, I'm going to buy some rental properties, because what I found out is that, dude, I was a handyman hack. I was about half good at everything I tried to do because I was doing all the work myself. Right?
Oh, so you were doing that. Oh, man, dude, you must have been working 24/7.
I was, man. Like,
wow.
I just shifted jobs. I worked for myself, but it's still working, right? And found out that I did drywall shitty. I could lay tile worth of crap.
So you're kind of jack of all trades, master of none.
Oh, dude, like to the nth degree.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was not pretty. So then I'm like, I'm gonna buy these rental properties because it's not as much rehab. This stuff's killing me. So I bought 4 rental properties in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Still own them today, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you own them today? Just curious, because you own
cash flow.
Okay. You own a bunch of apartments that cash flow a lot.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
lot better though.
Why get rid of the cash flow?
Yeah, okay,
right?
I got you.
Yeah,
so they're not that much of a headache today, I guess.
No,
okay.
Because they cash flow really good now.
Cool.
Right, but they cash flow good when I first bought them, but not really. So when I first bought them in 2005, I was making like $250 a month for each property.
Okay.
Well, times 4 is $1,000, right? Can you retire on $1,000?
No, that won't get you very far.
And so I had all the money that I made on my flips into each property, and I had no job, so the banks wouldn't give me a loan, I didn't have enough money. Like I'm setting myself up for failure here. Okay, this is my first.
And when was this? What time frame was this?
2005.
Yeah.
Oh man, so it's leading up.
I was gonna say it's just creeping up to the crash.
Yep. So I own 4 properties, and then I'm like, dude, I can't even buy any more properties. I have no more money. They're all in each property that I've got. I'm like, crap, I got to go get a job. And so then my buddy was like, hey, why don't you become a financial advisor? And I'm like, well, that sounds cool, but like, don't you have to have a degree to do it? He's like, no, you just got to pass the test. I'm like, really?
Oh, wow.
Hold on, man.
I'm pretty good at tests.
Yeah. And so, man, I went on to get a job with Edward Jones. It's the hardest test I've ever studied for, truly. And I passed with a 73. You have to have a 70 to get your license.
I love it.
Studied just
skin of your teeth.
Just enough to get my degree, Series 7, 66. And that company, Edward Jones, probably the second best thing I've ever did was getting hired by Edward Jones, because they're probably known as the best teaching company to teach you about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and really how money works, right?
Right.
And not only about how money works, but where to find money, where money hangs out. The job is to go find capital and get them to invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, retirements, all that stuff, right? That's the job of a financial advisor. So I kind of put my real estate journey on hold and went into this whole financial advisory dream until, guess what happened next? Murphy's Law, right?
Yeah.
So I'm doing it 2006, 2007, 2008, just kind of getting my wheels going. And what happens? The crash.
Yep, the crash.
Ouch.
Right? And I realized that I hated being a financial advisor at that point, because
I can't see you as a financial advisor. I'm trying to picture
grind,
that,
dude.
And I just cannot see that.
Listen, it's not because I look smart.
No, I don't mean because of that.
I think they looked at my country gap, right?
No, I don't mean I don't mean it's because of that. I just like the way that you act and how you are. Like financial advisors, I think of boring guys that let's talk about your IRA today, and that just doesn't seem like you. Probably why I wasn't so
successful.
Right.
Yeah,
the personality for it just doesn't seem to be there.
No, it doesn't mix, right? I'm not prudent. I'm not like that guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's another one I had to really, really work at. But the truth is, man, I did good, man. I started off as a new. Edward Jones gave me a laptop, a printer, and a story and a company to fall behind. I went door knocking every day for 2.5 years to
Wow.
find clients.
You probably honed your skills talking to people
And I was a networking.
all that.
Edward Jones taught me how to network and meet people.
That's cool.
Like, because I had to, right?
Right.
And so, but then the market crashed, and what I found out is I had no control. I had no control of the market. Everybody's investments that I'd put into mutual funds or whatever were, you know, the 401ks were now 201ks. And grown men and women come into the office sobbing because their worst nightmare had just come true. Is, am I going to run out of money? And the answer is
brutal.
yes. Yes, you are.
Wow.
Right?
Yeesh.
It's sobering. And so when my heart left the business, so did my sales. And one day I get in I have a appointment at 10 o'clock with the manager. And 8 o'clock I roll into the office, and my secretary can't even look me in the eyes. And I knew the fix was on. Corey was going to get canned.
Oh, you knew right then.
And what's funny is I would look back at this moment. Now, this is a real pivotal moment for me, and I hope I'll share it with the audience, is that, man, I already knew what I really wanted to do, guys. I wanted to be a real estate investor. I was only becoming a financial advisor because I was hoping to make that $100K a year so I could buy more properties.
So it's just a means to an end.
Yeah, you were doing it because you needed to.
Yeah. That was my whole goal from the very. And so as I'm sitting around in the next 2 hours, I know that my demise is coming. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I equate it to, like, you know, the little kid in you that you like. Well, you guys are still little kids. Come on.
He's younger than me, so
yeah.
you know.
So that little kid inside, because
even though I look way younger.
Yeah. I think I'm 47, but I still have a little kid inside me that's like, he's 18 or he's even younger than that. Because that kid, the kid that used to dream that he could do anything that he ever wanted to, and he put his mind to it. That little kid inside was saying, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Like, I know what we want to do. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And so in the four walls of my office, because I'd shut the door, I'm like, what am I going to do? And I made the most honest, deep down, I'm talking everything that I am, commitment. And I made it to myself that I was going to do whatever it took to be successful in real estate, right there in my office. And I'm telling you, it was real. It was a real change for me. It was like turning the switch on or off. And when I turned it on, I walked out of that, when I got canned at 10 o'clock, and I walked out of that thing like Rocky, man.
Yeah, like thank you for this opportunity to fire.
Like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do it. Now, it lasted for like 30 seconds, Rocky did.
Right, that reality sets in.
Because I was like, I got to go tell my wife.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But
you're going to need a whole nother pep talk for yourself for that one.
Yeah. But I remember, like, really making the commitment that I don't care what it takes. If I've got to work till 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, I've got to do I don't care. I'm willing to pay the price, and I'll burn every bridge along the way. So there is no retreat.
That's cool.
That was my mentality.
That's a great mentality when you kind of, it's back against the wall. You have nowhere else to go but make it successful. I love that. And usually when you find yourself in that situation, you figure out a way to make it happen. It's like when you go all in on something, it typically ends up working. So
it has to, because
exactly. It has to. That's right. That's exactly right. Well, yeah, I'm sorry.
And you'll still have roadblocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like roadblocks showed up, right? So I came out of that thing saying, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to do real estate. I still didn't really have the download of how I was going to do it, but I was like, what do I have? Right? I'm resourceful and I know how to network. So I'm like, where's the RIAs? So I started going to the RIAs. Then, like, I'm smart. So I'm like, to the guy that's holding the RIA, I'm like, hey man, I'm new to your club. Can you point out some of the players? You know,
that's a great question to ask.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great question to ask.
Yeah.
Who's the players?
Right.
Everybody that runs a room knows his people.
Right.
And he pointed out 4 of them. And guess who sat by those people?
You.
Corey Peterson.
Yeah.
Corey Peterson with my notepad. So you like to wholesale. What part of the city do you like to do it in? What's your deal look like? How much rehab do you like? You know, and I'm just taking notes. Like, oh, really? Man, I find deals like this all the time. I'm lying.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, like, I'll go find you a deal. I'm not even a realtor, but I was resourceful. And so I found someone that was a realtor. I'm like, dude, you got to give me your access, not like the crap access. I need your like login, which, you know, and so, because you're not going to want to do all the work that I'm going to do, but I'll give you all the deals to write up. And so they're like, okay, well,
so you were going to use them as your agent.
Yeah. But I'm like, you're not going to do the work that I'm going to ask you to do. So just let me do the work and I'll give you the offers to write up. Can you do that? And they're like, well, yeah, okay, that's cool. So now they're giving me access.
There's that you're providing value to them. Essentially.
Yeah.
You're not saying, hey, do this for me.
I'm not just ripping it off. I'm doing it saying, hey, let's create win-wins. See, being resourceful is understanding how do you help the other guy?
Exactly.
Right? How do we all win and make a solution work? And so they're like, yeah, that sounds great, Corey. And so, so then I started, I'd actually got this one, I found a real life mentor. His name was Bob Norton. He taught me this system called kiss flipping. And that was when we were finding deals on the MLS and REOs, like on the REOs and short sales, finding them on the MLS.
Those days are long gone.
They're gone, right? Gone. But back in the day, he was like, it's all about speed and knowing your neighborhoods. And so I spent hours and hours and hours learning neighborhoods, right? Like, so good that like if you were in one of my neighborhoods, I'm like on the front or the back, 1 story, 2 story, granite, no granite, right? Pool, no pool. And I know right now exactly how much I need to pay for it, how much I can buy it for, what my rehab is going to be, and probably how much I'll sell it for.
So you were just like a computer with that stuff. You just
so I can make an offer right there. I can call the broker up and say, hey, listen, I'm going to let you double dip and represent me too, so you can get double dip, right?
Yep.
Double dip on the
Give the juice.
Guys. Make the juice worth the squeeze.
That's right.
Right.
That's smart.
Yep. You got to incentivize them to make it.
Let me help you make more commish, bro. Let me give you some commish. And so they're happy and then I'm closing using the people's money at the RIAs. And then I'm just getting like a $3,000 fee.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, so you'd wholesale.
These are not even my deals, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're just tying them up and
I am just hustling.
So you assign the contract to one of the guys that you've.
Well, you can't even assign a contract back then to REOs and short sales. You had to be even more resourceful and creative. I would go and create gosh dang it, what's called the legal document that you need to record, right?
A deed?
Special warranty deed.
Okay, okay, got it.
And I would create it and prepare it and get them on like, hey, listen, you're going to wire your money and then you're going to pay me a fee. When you pay me this fee, then I'm going to give you this warranty deed because it's closing in my name.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Like Kahuna Investments, because I'm not changing. I got to be in control, right? That's how I hold them to my deal.
Right.
And then when you give me my money, then I'll give you the special warranty deed so you can go record it and put it in your name.
Oh, wow.
Tell me that's not slick, baby.
No, that is slick.
So did you?
Wow.
How did you learn to do that? I mean, was it books or just?
No, man. I'm just because man.
Just a hustler.
Yeah.
Well, it is hustlers, but like it's asking, like I call it now Google. You just get my Googliness has always been top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was never afraid to ask questions. So I'll be in front of my title people. I'm like, here's what I want to do. How do I do it? And that's usually how I pose my questions. I don't say, can I do it? I say, how do I do it?
Yeah.
I love that.
And they're like, well, okay, well, that could probably work. Here's what you need to do. You need to record it, this and this and this.
And then so you're like, boom, got my answer.
Yeah. I'm like, do you have the document right now? Can you send me? Right. And because I closed so many deals, so they're like, okay, Corey, here's the Word version of that document.
That's so like, cool.
Boom.
That is great. I love that.
So, yeah. So then I'm almost done with my story here.
No, you're good.
I'm entertained. So
we're about to get to the best part
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm doing this, but I'm still like, I'm playing the game. I'm in real estate. I'm doing like 3 deals, 4 deals a month, $12,000, right?
Right.
And then I'm managing these guys' rehabs for them, right? Because they're all out of state investors.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, they're making $20,000, $30,000 a flip. And Corey's making $3,000.
So that was built into your assignment fee or whatever you want to call it. You would kind of GC it for them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm just like,
That's
I'm
a lot of
making it
work.
done for you. Like, yeah, but like, why do they use me and pay me that money? Because they were like, I'm just creating value.
Got it. Okay.
I want them to be jonesing on the kahuna,
Yeah.
right? Give me
That's
some more of
right.
that kahuna, dude. I don't, like,
Exactly.
that's what I want, right?
Yep.
And so, and they lined up, man, and they would just. So I'm doing this, but in my mind, I'm like, man, I am working like a slave. So,
That's what it
and
sounds like.
I'm barely making. I mean, I'm making enough to live, but like, I'm not getting paid. And so then it happened, something magical that honestly has changed my life forever. And so this is when I first raised my first piece of private money, other people's money. And I want to set it up for just a minute for your audience, because you're probably, you have a younger audience. And like for me, I had grown up about money with a lot of stigmatisms, meaning, Corey, you'll never be good enough. People will never give you money. We don't talk about money at the family table. If we have money, we spend it. We're horrible with our money as a family. That's what I learned and was taught. And why would anybody give me money? That was my self-talk, by the way.
And
So
that's a
you had kind of
valid question.
the poor dad mindset from Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like probably most people are not groomed into wealth. We're just groomed
Right.
as, the masses, which is,
That's right.
I'll never be rich, but
Yep.
I'm rich in love. Well, you can be
Yes.
both, but no one tells you that, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And so here I have that baggage that I'm carrying around. So I play racquetball, right? And I'm playing racquetball with this older group of men. And one of them used to be my old client at Edward Jones, but he doesn't have like lots of money. But he's a good guy, but he lives in a retirement community. And we all know in retirement communities, there's got to be some money, right?
Right. And
so I'm playing racquetball and he's watching me wholesale. He's watching me transition. He's like, wow, Corey, you're doing pretty good. I'm like, Carl, man, I just wish I could just find somebody. Like, you got to know somebody in your retirement community that needs, like, I could pay them 12%. And like, instead of me making that $3,000 fee, I could pay that to an investor and make that 25K rip. I'm like, do you know anybody, Carl?
So you'd basically get rid of the investor and just borrow money kind of as debt. And and then you'd make more profit. And I was just asking
him if he knew anybody. I wouldn't even ask him Carl for money because I didn't think Carl had any money.
Okay.
I was just asking Carl for his help. Hey man, can you share what I'm doing with some of your friends? Because like, I probably think I can make their money work a little harder for them.
Right.
So the next day, guess who calls? It's Carl. And Carl's like, hey, Corey, do you still want to do that 12%? And I was like, well, yeah. And in the back of my mind, I was like, man, Carl found somebody.
You put in the work for me.
And he goes, Corey, you don't know this, but my home is totally paid for. I can borrow money at 3%. And if you pay me 12, I make a spread. How much money do you need? Now,
wow.
This was a pivotal moment in Corey's. There's lots of conversations in my head at this moment, right? What do I say? What do I say? And I remember I was like, I took a deep breath and I just let it out. Carl, I need $85,000. There was a small pause and then, okay, yeah. Hey, where do you want me to send it, Corey? And I'm telling you, just like that, my mouth freaking hit the bottom of the floor. And I was like, because I never thought that far ahead.
So you just accidentally raised $85,000.
Just like that. Now that's not a lot of money, but for me, I equated all that baggage. So like in that one instant, I broke every limiting belief I'd ever had myself when it came to money. And I like to say I went into the phone booth as Clark Kent. Yeah. And I spun around that son of a bitch, and I come out saying, I raised private money!
Yeah, but that's great. I mean, who cares what the amount is? That first person that gives you that money, that, like you said, you've got that feeling and it breaks every limitation that you set.
It does, man. And so once I did it, it was like, again, the scales had come off my eyes. And I'm like, well, I can't be the only one trying to raise private money. Is there anybody else out there doing it? How can I do it better? And then I started to get some more, do some research. Then I found that you got to have a private money program. So if you're a single family flips and you're doing, you got to have a private money program. The program is, here's how I take people's money.
Right.
And it's just a small document that says, here's how you do it, right? Here's my system. Because like when you go to a hard money broker or lender, don't they give you their rules?
Yes, that's right.
They
Well,
say,
really any lender, yeah.
any lender.
Yeah.
But here we are flipping the script. And I say, here's how I'll take your money.
I like that. So
Here's
because they want to get the money working.
Yes.
And they need you just as much as you need them.
Yes, but you got to make it sure that you look like you don't need them at all.
Right, exactly.
And so, but see, here's what really Carl taught me. Number one, never ask people for money.
So
only ask them, who do they know? And the right people will self-select every time, just like Carl. I've gone on to raise, last year we raised $10 million of private money. I still do it the same way today as I did it back with Carl for the most part. Now, listen, when you get seasoned enough, when we're calling, I don't need to ask if you know somebody, you're calling me about money. Okay.
Right.
But in the beginning, I learned that I never asked people for money. I just asked them who they knew. And then I shared with them my credibility kit, or I call it my cred kit. So in this business, you need
just like a resume.
Things. Yeah. For fix and flip, cred kit is just your before and afters. I find this stuff, I do this to it, and here's what I make. Okay. With pictures and videos and the links, right? That's all you need. That's your cred kit. Here's what I do. Here's what the finished product looks like. Okay. And your private money program says, here's how you give me the money. Okay. So that's what I did. And dude, I went batshit crazy on it. So next thing I know, I've got like $3 or $4 million rolling on the street.
Really?
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
I'm moving and shaking here in Phoenix.
And you had that all tied up in a bunch of flips?
Properties. Yeah.
Wow.
Again, doing it myself now. I'm going to share one little other story, then I'm going to get to the ultimate success of apartments. So that's where I'm trying to get this story to go to, right?
Yeah.
But like, there's lots of little things that happen along the way that I think this is the journey that I think this is my journey, but it really is very crazy how things happen, right? So now I'm fast forwarding another couple of years. It's around 2010, right? I'm to the world, I look super successful. To my sphere of people, Corey's doing it. But it's at this point in my time that I'm probably the biggest wreck in my entire life.
And nobody sees it.
Really?
No one sees it. My wife, I'm an asshole. I'm becoming a bad father. I am chasing the pursuit of money to a relentless passion, to where I talk about it in my book, but my son says, hey, Dad, are you going to be at my game on Saturday? This is like Friday. So he's asking, wanting to make sure that I'm going to be there. Yeah, son, I'll be there. Now, I take a lot of pride being a family man. That's my heart's desire. That's what I want to be. So I tell him yes, but deep down, I'm like, dude, I got to go. I got 3 properties I got to look at tomorrow because I didn't get them done today. So I'm like, I'll wake up early. I'll get to them. Wake up early, get to the first one. Crap, dude. The electrician's doing shit wrong. I'm like, dude, and then I got to run to Lowe's, get some parts. I come back, and then I'm like, shit, I get to the next property. And dude, by the end of the day, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to make the game. I get there at the end of it.
Oh.
My son comes off the field, man. And this one's, so this is a tough one. So hold on, man. This is tough, right? So I'm trying to.
Yeah.
My son came off the field crying, dude, and he said, "Dad, you promised." And I'll tell you that in that moment, and this is still painful to talk about it, because it crushed me as a dad, right?
Yeah.
That I'd put the love of money in front of my family to where I'm hurting my kids. And it's the biggest pain that you'll ever feel in life is when you hurt your kids in a way that you just know that you shouldn't, right? And he's trying to hold back, and then it just like that kind of cry, dude. And you're just, it felt so bad. And, kids are resilient.
Yeah.
That he still wanted to ride my truck, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to come home with dad. And that is only worse because, like, he's, the whole time in the car. And, dude, and I'm just like, I'm just beating myself up. I drop him off, and, my wife's right in the car, and she's like, Corey, like, you got to fix it, right? And so I get in my truck, and I drive, and I'm going, and I'm cussing myself out, and I'm like, I'm beating myself up in my truck as I'm driving. I'm like, you son of a bitch, you're stupid. Why would you ever do this? And I'm just physically just beating myself up. And finally, I find a point where I get I ask God for forgiveness. I finally forgive myself, man. I ask God for forgiveness. And I'm sitting in this forgiven state, and I'm just kind of in a zombie. I finally got some calm to me. And then it happens, dude, and changed my life forever. Is I drove by this apartment complex, and I'm telling you, I've driven by it a million times. And I used to say, I wish I could own an apartment complex. And in that broken state of calmness, I asked myself, how can I own an apartment complex? Wow. And as soon as I said the words, how can I, my brain worked. All of a sudden I flashed back 18 to Bruce. Bruce had time and money.
Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
Bruce did apartments. He had cash flow. He lived a perfect life. And I knew at that moment right there that this was the way. Man, I flipped the bitch and turned
and went back to work.
I went to Barnes and Nobles. Now we just get on our cell phones, right?
Right.
But I went to Barnes and Nobles. I bought every book I could on the multifamily apartments. I bought 4 books. The last one I read was from David Lindahl, who ended up becoming my mentor.
Okay.
Now I own a bunch of units. I have a $95 million worth of properties, around, I think, a $25 million net worth. I do have control of my time. I bought my first apartment complex for $3.2 million. I raised.
Can you jump into that story? I love this story about how you go to the RIA meeting and you're like, I got a crap load of money. Tell us how you found that deal and just what happened.
Yeah,
it's a cool story.
So yeah, I read all these books, and finally, it's taken me about a year to get confident to go. I'm gonna go buy apartments because I was already good at raising money, but I was having a problem with single family fix and flips, doing REOs and short sales because they were drying up.
Right.
And I didn't know how to do direct mail marketing. So it was like comical, right?
Yeah.
So
you were finding all those flips just on MLS?
Yeah, man. I would go every day, every night. I would scan that. I had a system, bro. And I had people that would call me when they got the listings. That was the trick. I had broker relationships,
just had tons of realtors in your pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, man. They were like, dude, because they knew that I was for sure the double the juice and I could close. Right. So they would just heard and send my offer.
Yeah, you're the man they go to.
Get it accepted and done. Right. It's done. It's off the market.
But then that starts drying up as we went along.
Yeah. So I'm like, I finally get to the point where I'm ready to go buy apartments. And I go to this Dave Lindahl event, and it was a smaller event. And I was like, man, I got to do something different. Because, normally when you go to these apartment events and stuff, you're always trying to find like the 2 or 3 people that do stuff.
Right.
Like, not the ones kicking the tires, but the players. And so I was like, I got to figure it out. So I came up with this idea. I'm like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do something radically different. And so here's what happened. On day 1, and this never happens, but like this is Murphy's Law this is the law of attraction or the secret or whatever. Like you put it out there, things show up. So at the end of the first day, they're like, hey, does anybody got any announcements? I'm like, oh God, this is my cue. Stand up. So I stand up in the front of the back of the room and I go, my name's Corey Peterson and I got a crap ton of money and I'm looking for some deals. If there's any deals out there, come share them with me. I would love to see if I can, help fund them. So
That's awesome.
I got to look at every deal in the room that week. Now, it was a 4-day event. I didn't pay for lunch or dinner for the rest of the week.
I believe
That's
it.
great.
So, did you have a crap load of
So
money, or was
funny.
this just your tactic to get the deals to you?
Well, now listen. I want you everybody to understand this too. Did Corey Peterson have a crap ton of money? Personally, no. Did Corey Peterson, was he able to command a crap ton of money? In spades?
Yep.
Right? So it doesn't take your money. This is another big misconception of people. It takes money. Yes, it takes money to make money. It just doesn't always take your money.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I walked in the room with confidence because I had my investors that if I said jump, they said how high.
Okay? That's cool.
So, and that was the confidence that I had with them behind me. And so I went into that deal and I knew, and dude, it was funny because then it was like, I call it the Corey Leone method.
The Corey Leone.
Because I became like the Godfather. Yeah, I don't know. Because listen, the money makes all the rules. It's patient. It negotiates from strength. The money's in the money, by the way. It's not even in real estate. It's in money. And so, but that's what it was happening is I was able to cherry pick. And I found these guys that had this deal. They were $150,000 hard. They needed to close in 2 weeks.
That means for anybody listening that means non-refundable. Their earnest money was $150,000 and it was non-refundable. So if they didn't close on the deal, they would have to eat that and walk away and part ways with $150,000.
They would lose $150,000, which is a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
And so, but I knew that I had money and my capital would act quickly if I asked them to. And so I negotiated a 75% ownership of their deal. And now the first thing I did was realize that they had an extension clause that if we paid $40,000, we could get another 30 days extension. So I paid the extension, and then we closed 30 days later. So I raised $1.4 million, bought it for $3.2 million. They ended up being two idiot partners. I ended up buying them out in the first 6 months.
Really?
Yeah. Well, the first one took me 6 months. The other one took me 2 years. The first one I had to pay him $200,000 because they were idiots. And then because I bought the other guy out, the other guy sued me. And then 2 years later, we litigated it out and got it fixed. But anyways, I had control of the property. But anyways, we sold this property 5 years from the day we bought it. I think 2016. We bought it for 3.2. We sold it for $8.8 million.
Holy shit!
Wow,
that's awesome.
$4.7 million profit.
And that you by the time you sold it, you owned the deal outright, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild. And even your investors, the money you raised, you raised it as debt. Is that correct?
No, it was actually I raised it wrong. I raised it on unsecured promissory notes. Does anybody understand what that is?
Well,
that's a piece of paper.
Right. Yeah. So it's not secured to anything.
Get back.
No.
That's funny.
No legal documents.
Because I didn't even know what I was doing.
Right.
I was just hilarious. Like, guys, send me the money. I'll create some documents later.
That's great.
Now, when I refied 2 years later and got everybody out, we actually have a private placement put in, and it's correct now. But when I first did it, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I was kind of a little wild west there. But I raised $1.4 million on unsecured promissory notes.
That is too funny.
But I got the deal. And, what's cool about that, too, is that when we sold it, we actually did a 1031 exchange. So we didn't pay taxes. And just for full disclosure, the 4.7 wasn't all mine, but 2.5 of it was. Okay.
Wow. I'll take $2.5 million.
So then we did a 1031 exchange into my next deal, which is $12.7 million, right?
That's wild.
And that one pays around $400,000 in cash flow a year.
Wow.
The power of real estate, right?
One apartment deal set me free, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So you sold that first deal. The deal made $4.7 million. You then didn't pay a penny in taxes on that gain there. You rolled that into another deal that now spits off $400,000 every year. That's crazy. I mean,
and I could probably sell it right now for 18 to 19 million.
It's wild. Oh, shit. And you'd make what, about 6-7 million on that? That's crazy. I love it.
And people think that they can't do, people hear these numbers and things like that, but you did it, and it's
Yeah.
not
Guys, I just
impossible.
shared with you the story of a used car salesman.
Exactly.
And so how long did that take me? I started my company 2005, so 15 years. Okay. But I really didn't go full time. I'm really going to say in 2009 is when I really started.
Okay.
Right.
So 11
years. But if you want to even talk, but I wasn't making wealth
I was
until
going to say,
started apartments,
right.
which was 2011.
Yeah. So it morphed in 2011.
4 years.
Yeah.
So really,
wow.
wait, no, it's 9 years.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, within 5 years,
what would you do to have $22 million worth of net worth if it took you 9 years to do it? Would you do it?
Yeah,
you would start
insane.
right now.
Come on.
Right. You're not going to get that investing in your 401k or anything like that.
And you won't ever get that saving,
right.
Your
but
whole
more
paycheck.
Importantly, no, hell no. But more importantly, so why do I still play the game? Right?
It's fun.
I love this business. I love the deal. I love structuring it. I love that part a lot. I like it. I enjoy working. But I don't do it for money anymore. I keep score, but I don't do it for money. Money is, we're done. We're good with that. But I have a new thing called supplier of fun. And supplier of fun really motivates me. And so what supplier of fun means to me is that, I still live in the same neighborhood that I've lived in the last 12 years. It is very much a working person's, it's upper middle class, but it's not like the $3 million homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just an average
Wayne's home.
It's like $400,000 home, right?
Okay.
And so, but in my neighborhood, we've got these 4 family members that we've grown up with each other for like the last 12 years. And so I was like, hey, do you guys want to go to Hawaii? And they're like, well, yeah, but they've never been, but, and I said, and I would like to pay for it.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Cause that happened to you. You were asked one time, do you want to go to Hawaii? And now you're kind of flipping.
It's going to be really cool. I'm selling this property this summer. Hopefully it gets sold. And when I do, I may be buying Bruce Wayne's house.
No kidding.
Wow.
Is it for sale or are you just going to?
No, it is for sale. It is. For
sale.
It
is for sale. Oh, wow.
3.2 million.
That's
no
incredible.
Kidding.
That's awesome. That's a great story. And the meaning of it to you is so much more.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your life right there.
Yeah, man.
It's like where you had that moment and now
it really is. It changed my life. And honestly, it's the one place that I can go when I go to Hawaii. I check out, man. Like I'm rolling down my windows. I'm breathing the air. I put all my stuff on auto respond. I'm checked.
That's cool.
And I truly have some real freedom, and I just really enjoy it. It is God's Garden of Eden for me, Hawaii.
I love it. That's great. Well, I was going to ask what some of the next things that you're going to do are and what you're excited about, but I think we just talked about it. Is there anything within the Kahuna ecosystem that you're excited about that you're working on now?
I'm trying to work a lot less.
Okay. That's exciting.
No.
I mean,
it is for me.
Right.
Say no. Yeah. I say no a lot more. And so here's the truth. I got my son and my daughter are both active in sports. My daughter's a sophomore. My son's going to be a freshman coming into this next school year. And he's really active in football and wrestling. And my daughter plays club soccer. And these next 6 years of my life are probably going to be the funnest year. And I don't want to miss out. So I have truly, as an educator, we've cut down a lot of our events because I don't want to do, I just want to be, I want to be exactly who I said I was going to be and make my business work for me, which is I'm going to be a full-time dad and I'm going to enjoy this 6 years because it'll be gone before I know it.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
That's right. So just being present, that's huge.
And we're going to do 2 events. That's all we're doing, 2 teaching events. We're only doing 1 event this year at the end of October. And then next year, we're only doing 1 in the spring, 1 in the fall. And we're going to do 1 big event. That's the one thing I'm excited about. I'll tell you about that. Okay. But that's still not until a year down the road. That's how much we're planning it. But we're going to do a Kahuna Summit, Apartments to Millions Summit.
Well, I'll be there.
And that's going to be a really, really good event. I'm going to bring my community, my tribe, and make it super affordable to get there. And then just bring some straight up, ninjas that are going to go and share knowledge, right?
That's huge.
And probably no selling.
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah, I can't stand
awesome.
selling anymore. I'm past that crap.
Yeah, I know. Going to those conferences, a lot of times no, I hear you.
The pitchathon gets like,
Yeah, exactly.
dude,
The used car and everybody comes out. The used car salesman and
yeah. So
everybody.
I just don't want to do it. And honestly, here's the best part of the people that I'll bring into this thing is most of them won't have a platform like that. They're just going to share from their hearts of what they do. And I think that's important, right?
Yeah.
Because the great thing about the way I've structured my business, I make most of my money from real estate. I make a very little amount from education.
Yeah.
And so I can really just say F you to the education piece, because I do it because I love it. And I enjoy teaching others and watching them grow, but I don't depend on it for my livelihood.
Exactly. Some guys do. Some guys it's flip flop where they're making only a little bit of money on the real estate.
Right.
And most of the money is made on the info.
Because they're salesmen and stuff.
That's it. That's it. Well, that was an incredible story, Corey.
Yeah, and I know we could go way deeper.
You guys made me cry, man.
Oh.
You
you were about to make me cry. Hearing that.
I know, I'm sitting there and it's funny because I have a similar-ish story with my dad, and so we won't go into
that. It's relatable, right?
It is.
It's a relatable story because I'm telling you, I mean, when I tell that story, I can't not every time I tell it a lot.
Right.
You think I'd be numb to it.
Yeah.
But I can't because the only way I know how to tell stories is like to go and relive it.
Right.
To get into the feeling of how it felt. And that one hurts me, man. It hurts me every time.
That's brutal.
But it's a story worth telling because if I can help people not get hurt like that, right? That was a pain I wish I would have never experienced.
Yeah, because as a younger guy or girl, you're chasing that. You think the money is where it's all at, and that the wealth and all that, and what you were doing, you were chasing it. Just like a lot of people probably are.
Yeah,
money's gonna make me happy, but when you're chasing that money, you're missing out on all those.
Stop to smell the roses.
Yeah.
Are you gonna ask me my favorite quote?
Yeah, we'll use that one if you want.
Yep.
Yeah. So moments of truth time here, Corey. Who's your success role model?
My success role model. Now, sounds cheesy. Is my dad. My dad has taught me everything in life. There's 3 things my dad truly taught me. Number 1, swing for the fences. Right? He used to, tell me, Corey, no matter what in life, don't be afraid. Swing for the fences. Right? When you do that, you're going to strike out. Right?
Right.
But and what you do and how you can carry yourself when you strike out is important. As you're, like if you're going up to bat and you strike out, you got to run back to the dugout. But in the corner of your eye, look at that pitcher and say, "You may have got me today, but I'm going to get you tomorrow. I'm getting you next at bat."
Mm-hmm.
Right. So swing for the fences. Number 2 is he told me to, always hustle. Right. And there's something about that to be said. Like people like hustle. Like if a coach says, "Hey, go run around, the goalpost." Like you should. Like my dad brought me this work ethic that says you should be first, Corey. The only way that you're not first is if someone physically beats you, because running around the fence is a mental thing, right?
It is.
But you should always be hustling because in this life and world, no one waits. You got to hustle to get your worm. And so.
Right.
And then the last one, my dad is make work a game, right? And that was my dad was a roofer by trade, and he used to, I'd go out at 5 years old roofing these roofs with my dad, and that's where my dad did his best teaching. By the way, is up on that roof. He was a different man. But one time she's like, "Son," he said, "Dad's like, this could be a lot of work." He goes, "But we're gonna make this work a game." And he goes, "The game we're gonna play today is who gets to the top of the ridge first," because there was another roofer on the other side. And I was like, "That's all I need." I'm like, "I'm in, Dad."
A little
my job was to lay out the shingles, right?
Yep.
So I'm laying out the shingles. My dad's like, "Pop, pop, pop, pop." Line them up, pop, pop, pop. And we're just killing it, dude. And we get to the top and we win, dude. We win first. It was awesome. Cool. But what my dad did next taught me everything about who I should be as a man. Because we could have sat there and basked in the glory. But my dad said, "Son, let's jump on the other side here and help this roofer get all his shingles up." So we went and helped that roofer bring all his shingles up.
Because the job's not done until he's finished.
Right. And that's the humility. And even though you may win the day, always be willing to help others. Show them how, right? Give them that confidence and be a team player.
I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's great.
I love it. Yep. What's your biggest success?
You're asking all these questions that are nothing to do with real estate. my
Yes.
biggest success is my wife saying yes to me.
Yeah.
She married a used car
You
salesman.
leave. Well, you had to leave. You had to.
She married a restaurant manager.
Right.
Yeah. But honestly,
that's awesome, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you, by the way.
Sure.
And it's, here's the thing. What my wife did for me was something that was extraordinary. She took a used car salesman, but see, she saw a diamond. She truly, and I've always looked into her eyes, seeing that she saw me as a diamond, always.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, she would just polish me, because I was a rough diamond. But I've probably a lump of coal.
Yeah.
but through her eyes, you would never see any of my flaws.
That's cool.
And so she would be my biggest cheerleader. So when I would make mistakes, money mistakes, bad mistakes, stupid things, she was never there to really criticize. She was there more to pat me down, mend my wounds with her, words of wisdom and songs of praise. And she would build me back up and give me confidence. And then once I was, ready to go, she'd kick me out the door and say, "Go get him, Tiger."
That's great.
That's awesome. That's great to have, because
absolutely
it's not easy. Like
No.
obviously the way you shared your story, it's not
right.
easy. So what does a typical day for you now look like?
9 to 10:30, I go to the gym, kind of, sort of.
In the morning?
It's blocked off in my calendar.
That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
I go hiking.
Optional? Is that an optional thing?
It's my time. It's my free time. I usually go to the gym. I've been doing a lot of hiking lately. And so from 9 to 10:30, an hour lunch is blocked in my calendar. And then at 4 o'clock, my time's off. And Fridays are always off.
Wow. So you really are living the Sunsets of Palm Trees life.
Yeah. So my day ends at 4 o'clock.
Nice.
Has to.
Perfect.
What time do you get up in the morning?
6:30.
Okay.
I'm not a super early. I'm not a 5:30 guy. I've tried.
6:30 is relatively early, though. I mean, it's not super early, but it's not late either.
I mean, I'm coming down at 7.
Okay.
Right?
And what do you do leading up to? You just hang out with the kids, make breakfast, do all that?
No.
No.
No. Normally, so like my daughter leaves the house at 7:05.
Oh, wow.
So I get to say hi to my daughter and wink at her and be like, "Love you, honey." And she's out. She wakes up at 6. Right?
Oh, wow.
We're
That's
such
funny.
bad parents.
Yeah.
We're teaching the kids to be independent.
I was gonna say that means they're self-sufficient. They can do
Teaching our kids to
Exactly.
be independent, right?
Yeah.
There's no silver spoons here, man.
Yeah. I love it.
But like, I know like lots of people have like daily systems and like are like emphatic about it. I just wake up and say, I normally, there's no really rhyme or reason to my, I don't know, man. Like,
Listen, I'm the same way. I used to do the miracle morning and I just couldn't. It was just so hard to, I just get up and go.
try to go to the gym, right? I usually try to wake up. I'll come in the office. I got a little bit, an hour free time before I got to go head to the gym. So I'll check out some emails and some stuff. And then at 8:30, I'm leaving the house, get home at, 10, get cleaned up. And really by 10:35, 10:45, then I'm actually ready to do business.
Okay.
And you can't even get me on my phone until 10 o'clock.
Okay.
It's
I
you
have-
time.
What do you have to do not disturb?
Yeah, I got it set. And it goes back on at 5.
Oh,
So
nice.
unless
Okay.
you're my favorites, and I don't have a lot of favorites, okay, you
But
can't get through on my bat phone, right?
That's cool. So you're
And
living
it
the
goes
Bruce
straight
Wayne.
to voicemail.
Yeah.
And guess what? And if you guys ever talk to or call my phone, on the voicemail it says, "I do not answer my phone," and I
love it.
don't unless your name's on it. I'm not answering it, man.
Right. Set those
Wow.
boundaries. I like it.
Yeah. So
Because otherwise you'd be creating more work for yourself if you answered that thing.
Yeah.
it would consume me.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. What's your favorite quote? That's
By
the
Homer.
one
This is by Homer.
Right.
Hey, and I'm gonna do you guys a super extra solid, right? I'm gonna give you my quote, but I'm gonna give you guys a poem.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
gonna show you I'm a Renaissance man.
Let's
Let's
hear it.
All right. So the quote first is, "The journey is the reward," by Homer, right?
Mhm.
The journey is the reward. It really is a journey.
I agree.
So, but I'm going to share with you a poem that I wrote when I was 18 years old. and I was a cabana boy at the Stardust Hotel and Casino.
Oh, wow.
Getting the tip. What did you call it?
The fin.
The fin, yeah, the fin.
You got to get the
$5,
fin, dude.
yeah.
$5 got as a fin.
Yeah.
I talk about the story in my pool boy deal of in my book of how Vegas taught me a lot of life skills on how the gratuity works,
Right.
and really just I call it street skills. But anyways, so I wrote this poem when I was 18 years old. I was sitting at the pool, and really I was thinking about life and just where I was wanting to go in life. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Blinded by the deepest dark and lost in all my ways. Where will I go tonight? Better yet, where will I stay? I know I can, and for sure I must fulfill my dream. It's all or bust. The light, it seems so dim and extremely small. I want to get there, but afraid I'll fall. Keep trying, they say, you know you can. I must succeed and fulfill my plan. Though at times I feel like crying, let down by all the rain. I control my destiny. I control the pain. They say if you want it bad enough, your dreams will see you through. Just wish upon a shining star and they will all come true. So now I found my way in life and the dark is all left. But those times that were tough and hard, those memories are the best. Now you may have fame and fortune too, you may have it all. But watch out for that little guy because he may make you fall. You see, you got here the easy way. Daddy put you on your feet. He gave you clothes and everything, which my dad can't compete. So I've clawed and scraped my way to all that I've become. And if you think you can deal with me, you're just another bum. They say that wealth is a rich man's obsession and a poor man's dream. But love is what it's all about. It's rare and hardly seen. Because you may make all the wealth, and that may seem so true, but does that make you happy? Is that really you? If wealth is what this world's about, then we must all be blind. Because it's like my mother said, good men are hard to find.
Wow.
That
was really good.
Have you published that?
That was amazing.
I mean, is that in your book?
It is in my book.
Okay, good. I was going to say, man, that's incredible.
That was incredible. Yeah.
I remember writing that deal, and I remember thinking about, that I was wanting to, I was 18, dude. I had no idea that I was going to be where I'm at now. I just knew I wanted to get and be successful.
Yeah.
And I knew that there would be some pain involved. Like I had to really work for it. And, but I didn't want to lose sight that it really is about people and love and something different than money.
Right. I love that.
It's funny that now that I'm on the other side of that, I really see how true that is.
Yeah.
More now than I ever have in my life.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
That is.
Corey, what are some of your hobbies? I know before we started, you were telling us.
Man, I got listen, the good thing about making lots of money is you get to do a lot more hobbies.
You get to do cool shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I got all kinds of crazy hobbies, man. So I'm a wild hogs kind of Harley guy.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
I go to Sturgis every year, but during my day, I don't dress like a Harley guy, but for 1 week of every year in August, I'll go to Sturgis and I'll put on my leather and my Jack Taylor boots, my Jack Taylor rings,
I love it.
And my wife becomes Shelly is my old lady on the back,
Got your old lady with you.
Damn right. And I can only say that one time a year, 1 week,
right,
for 1 week.
Yeah.
And then I just bought a Jeep, and like when you understand like how I do things. So I bought a Jeep. I bought this black Jeep. It was a 2-door Jeep. I was like, okay, and it was lifted up, but it wasn't exactly how I wanted it. So I'm taking it to the place to go get the lift, right? Called Deutsch Off-Road. And I get there and I'm like, there's these two done out of the box badasses, man. Like it's a monster. I'm like, dude, that's nice. And I'm like, I want my Jeep to look like that. The guy's like, well, that one's for sale. I'm like, really? How
I know
much?
where this is going.
And so I own 2 Jeeps.
I love it. Oh, that's great.
And so we go crawling, man. This one's got like a 6-inch lift, 40-inch wheels, tracks, TerraFlex 6-inch. I mean, it's nasty. You can go to some places. And I found out that in Arizona, it's Mecca, dude. This is in between here and Utah.
Yeah.
Like, it's Mecca place to go rock crawling.
Really?
Let's see. Yeah.
I'm getting ready to get my hams license, dude. My ham license.
For ham radio?
Damn right, bro.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Right? Because that's a new, like, when I go in, dude, I go all in.
Yeah, you're talking.
I love it.
That's cool.
Zero
hobbies. I'm all about hobbies. Bro.
Yeah, and that's what real estate can get you is more hobbies and more fun and 2 Jeeps.
Yeah, man, and 2 Jeeps.
Exactly. That's great. What's the best business book you've read?
Richest Man of Babylon.
Okay.
Great book.
And what I get from that is 1/10 of everything I make is mine to keep.
That, you know what? When I read that book, I wrote that down on my phone in the notes, and that's my favorite quote from that book.
Yeah.
So I've never read that. That's one of those books I haven't read. What does that mean? 1/10 of what I make is mine to keep.
You pay yourself first, no matter what you do.
So it's about paying yourself.
It's really about. It's a story about money, right? And how if you want to attract money and be a money manager, or kind of like just even your personal finances, how it really talks about, like, and it does it in parables. It's like the Bible. It's really neat how it does it, but it talks about this money lender, and he has this little protege. And, you know, he's got to give him money. He's got to be able to be a master of it first before he gives him all his wealth. And there's just a couple different stories on those types of scenarios but, you know, he's learning, you got to pay yourself, first. 1/10 of everything you make is mine to keep.
Yep.
And then you got to take that and invest it and be smart with it.
I love that.
It's a
great book. And it's a fairly easy read, and it won't take you long to read either. Yeah.
Right.
So, last question here, Corey. If there's one key piece of advice you could leave our listeners with about achieving success, what do you think it would be?
I'm going to tell you, what you tell yourself is the most important thing you'll ever do. And the most important thing, your self-talk. If you're not, you should be, and really don't put limits. So ask yourself, how can, right? How can I?
Mm-hmm.
Leads to trying to solve a problem. But, before I became successful in real estate, when I made the decision, I first made the decision to do it. And then I would tell myself, I'm a, money magnet. People are lining up to give me their capital. Money attracts to me. These are I would say, I still say these things to myself, my self-talk, right? And my belief in it. Because if you say it enough and you truly start putting your mind towards it, I'm telling you, something happens. The universe will give you what you believe you can do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it'll actually test you and give you a little bit more, right? But I believe, I don't know, man, the moment that I sold out in real estate, and I'm telling you, I've never done it besides marrying my wife. I've never made that commitment, but I committed to going full time in that room in Edward Jones. And I'm telling you, from that moment on, everything that I've ever needed in my life in this real estate journey has shown up. I've put in the work.
That's incredible.
But I also prepared my mind that I was going to be willing to learn, teach, all that stuff, right? So the power of your mind, and I always say, is everything, because your paradise is possible. It's how I end every podcast.
Right.
But it comes from a place that I truly believe that if people just understood the power within your ears, your brain is the biggest supercomputer you'll ever have. Mm-hmm. And most people have turned the switch off. They got out of, by the fact that you're listening to this podcast means it's on.
Yeah.
Feed it, man. Feed it and feed it to you can't overfeed your mind, man.
Every day you got to be
change everything.
Yeah. That was huge. That was gold right there. Yeah. I love it.
That's awesome. Well, Corey, how can our listeners get in contact with you? I know you've got a podcast, a book, and all that. So share that with us.
Yeah, I'll just give a couple things. So if you want to check out our podcast, Multifamily Legacy Podcast, anywhere you find podcasts. And then my new book called Copy Your Way to Success, Standing on the Shoulders of Giants.
I've read it. Shameless plug. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So
it's got anywhere you can buy a book, Audible, soon to be on Audible. And probably, I think in 2 more weeks, we'll have it on Audible. So then it'll be on iTunes and all the places you can listen to books. And I actually did the audio.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, that's cool. That's huge.
And I tell the story in way more detail because it's written down about my son. And I'm struggling through it, dude, but I get it out. And it'll make people weep, man. It'll make you, I hope at the best it does, it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, and it'll inspire you to be the best you.
That's great.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's what this episode will do when we release
exactly.
it. So that's awesome.
That's right.
Well, Corey, we appreciate you being on the show today. I mean, I know I say this a lot, but we could talk for probably hours and hours about everything that you've done and the success that you've created. So we appreciate you being on and sharing your story and wisdom with us today.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll see everybody tomorrow.